Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of House of Ways and Means. So we're finishing up our three-part series on Kanye West and his mental health, and we already touched on his bipolar. So today we're just finishing up with a little exercise and just talking about his psychosis. So information we're going through today is pretty much just pulled from his quotes we've heard him say about the way he feels about his mental health, the way his mental health makes him feel, and what we've heard through his music. So where do we start when it comes to psychosis?
So just to define psychosis, it is internal stimuli where you are responding to things that aren't physically present. So you may be hearing voices, seeing things, feeling things, tasting things that aren't present, that you aren't really feeling or aren't really tasting or aren't really hearing or aren't really seeing. So it's all those things that you are experiencing, and sometimes some people respond to those things that they experience.
So to quote Kanye West, he says, "Everything's a conspiracy. You feel the government is putting chips in your head. You feel you're being recorded. You feel all these things. You pretty much don't trust anyone." So how do you feel about that as it relates to, and what about it would specify that this is something related to psychosis and paranoia?
So specifically with those quotes, those are directly referencing the paranoia that he experiences. So paranoia, which he clarified is how he experiences it, is feeling like he's being monitored by the government. Sometimes, I've had patients in the past who have expressed that they feel like the government is listening to them through their radio stations, or they're receiving messages through their radio stations, whether it's a car station or maybe the weather pattern, lightning, things like that. They're hearing, voices or receiving messages through that way. So paranoia, and that's just someone else's experience besides Kanye West. Other people can experience paranoia in different ways. But the gist of it is that you are sensing again something that isn't really happening.
Okay, so we've all heard of people having these type of paranoid episodes when they experience schizophrenia, people who have schizophrenia. So how would you differentiate, say, schizophrenia from a condition like paranoia that happens when you have bipolar?
So I guess one of the things to note is that you can have multiple diagnoses, right? So it's not like you have one mental health diagnosis, you cannot have any other. Specifically with Kanye West, and again, I'm not completely privy to all of his symptoms and everything that he presents with, but what I ascertained from what he has reported is that he's diagnosed with bipolar, specifically bipolar 1, where he experiences the manic depressive episodes as we've already described in previous videos, and then he experiences psychosis and paranoia. So you can specify a diagnosis by adding anxious features or psychotic features, or paranoia features, things like that you can add to the diagnosis to further clarify the specificity of, is that a word?
Yes.
So those features, and part of my accent, I know it sounds like I'm saying future as in come back to the future, but I'm referencing future. I can't say it. That's just
Feature.
Feature. Anyways, I'm Caribbean. That's just the way I pronounce certain things. Don't laugh at me. But you could have those specifiers that would further distinguish the specificity of that diagnosis, whatever the diagnosis is. So let's put that on the side. Let's say someone has depressive episodes and they are diagnosed with a major depressive disorder. They may also be experiencing anxiety or anxious symptoms as well. So that person may be diagnosed as having major depressive disorder with anxious features.
Okay, so psychosis the specifier, it's not going to be a standalone then. Is psychosis ever a standalone, or is it always?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I guess to kind of go back to answer your question in regards to schizophrenia, specifically under schizophrenia, there are various different diagnoses that come under that. So just for me to just say schizophrenia and leave it like that, kind of would be doing you a disservice. So there is delusional disorder, and we're not going to talk about the personality disorders that fall under schizophrenia. Then there's schizophrenia, there's schizophreniform disorder, there's schizoaffective disorder, and then there's a psychotic disorder, and it's brief psychotic disorder, and then there's psychotic disorder due to like a medical condition or substance abuse, if it's substance induced. I know you guys have heard on the news people who may have used inhalants or bath salts and things like that, and they experience psychosis. So people can experience or have psychotic breaks. You've heard that, a lot of actors, actresses, people, in Hollywood who have experienced psychotic breaks as a result of whatever trauma, or it could be a chemical imbalance, or it could be because of drug use. It really just varies on the individual. But to answer your question in regards to schizophrenia and bipolar, the difference is that someone having a psychotic specifier, psychotic specifier with bipolar is the time frame and the severity of it. If you've had the psychosis and the paranoia and all the other qualifiers, and we'll probably do a video on schizophrenia in the future, but the other qualifiers for schizophrenia, it's over a period of a year. You would have had to have experienced those symptoms for over a year.
So a psychotic episode sounds like it's something that's pretty intense for someone experiencing it, and perhaps if you're in the general area around someone who is experiencing a psychotic episode. So is medication able to suppress these things, or people able also still having these episodes while they're on their medication?
So people can still have experience psychosis while on their medication, and it could be because they may have been off the medication for a period of time, or that particular medication or that cocktail that they're on aren't working for them. So again, varies by person, varies based on your medication mix.
So in a psychotic episode, do people experiencing them have a tendency to ever get violent?
So it can happen. You would see a difference in their behavior. It would be very disorganized. They would also have disorganized speech, where they may just kind of be talking and the words may not be tangible. Maybe just slurring of speech, or it just seems like they're just kind of talking and nothing makes sense. Like the cat is the sky of the couch of the, like it's just like words that are like coming together. It's clearly disorganized. There have been a lot of arrests made, people dealing with mental health illnesses because they are in the midst of a psychotic episode. It can cause them, because they're disoriented, they could maybe throw items off a shelf, or if they are in the middle of responding to internal stimuli and they feel like the government is behind them, they might be running into a store and locking the store and telling everybody to duck down because we're being watched or whatever. So it may not be violent to that degree, but they can become aggressive in their pursuit of resolving whatever their internal stimuli is telling them to do. The other thing too is it's violent when the voices that they hear are command hallucinations. So it's an understood you. The voices you hear may not specifically say you, but it's an understood you. So kill yourself, or jump off this building, or kidnap, XYZ, or rob this store, or strip naked, or whatever it is, and they respond to those voices that they're hearing. So it really just depends on what it is that they experience. But yes, it can become violent.
So if you are in the vicinity of a person and you're there they're having an episode, so, and not just anybody like at a mall or something, like somebody somebody who is with you, is perhaps a family, a friend, or whatever, what would be the best course of action to take to help that person and to keep as just for everybody's safety as well?
I would say it depends on the severity. If they are trying to hurt themselves or hurt someone else, just call 911. Don't try to, remedy the situation. I don't care what you learned in Taekwondo last week or whatever. Like, just call 911. Of course, you can try to do what you can while help is on the way, but just go that route. If the person is maybe experiencing something that's a little bit less severe, like maybe they see a group of people talking and they believe that those people are conspiring against them, you can pull that person away from that environment and out of plain sight of seeing those individuals and, walk with them somewhere else.
Okay, so just to bring this to a close, I mean, we're really glad that, a lot of these mental health issues are coming more to the forefront. We think it's great that Kanye West is really making himself vulnerable, speaking about what he's experiencing, because it's great for a lot of people who are experiencing these things who don't have such a high profile, don't have people following them on social media, through television, through their music, to have a voice for them basically on their behalf.
So I truly applaud him for doing that and for sharing that, opening up that way so that other people who are experiencing can feel like he can be a voice for them.
All right, so we're going to keep doing the Lord's work here. You can reach out to us in the comments if you want to hear about any other conditions. We're probably going to get back to doing a few finance videos too. I know we're sticking to the mental health pretty heavy, but we haven't forget y'all broke people. And so, let us know what you thought of the video. Subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and we'll see y'all later.
Bye.